Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a big bruiser with impressive engineering and, believe it or not, wearable ergonomics. You may not expect the 2012 to present Rolex Oyster Perpetual Sky-Dweller GMT annual calendar to be small wrist friendly, but in the absence of solid end links, this strap-worn version actually wears well on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference, so this is actually the Sky-Dweller to own if you love the watch but you can't quite ship the bracelet on the wrist you've got. Now 42 millimeters in white gold, you can see the size of the watch is not that bad across the wrist. This is reference 326139 in white gold on a strap. It's only 50 millimeters lug-to-lug, and I've often said 50 millimeters or fewer is essential for a smaller male wrist of 14 to 16.5 centimeters in circumference. So mission accomplished on that front. It's not as thick as you imagine. 13.9 millimeters with a sloped case flank. It'll fit underneath most shirt sleeves. And the spacing between the lugs, even though, let's face it, you're not going to accessorize a Rolex on a factory strap, it's 21 millimeters. So that's what you're looking at. A nice broad modern stance between the lugs to give the watch a planted look on the wrist. Now the timepiece is well made, quite secure and handsomely appointed. The timepiece is a bit sportier, I would even say, on a black strap than some of the other options. The sportiest is probably the bracelet, but a close second, especially for ergonomics sake and for those who just prefer straps generally, is going to be this black leather option. Alligator, matte finish, and you can see generously bolstered to match the swell of the lugs. Monotone stitch, folded edge. You can see it's alligator and calf on the bottom, Rolex factory strap. The clasp is a handsome and deceptively complex piece as it uses a beacon hook system with a lift lock release. So when you close it, it truly is locked. You can't just pull it open. You do have to unlock it. So it's a very secure system, fully finished internally. Like the case itself, it's gray gold, which is a Rolex proprietary alloy that is used by some, like Patek Philippe and Jaeger-LeCoultre, but Rolex makes its own in-house at its Plan-les-Ouates factory that has a forge and a foundry, and gray gold is white straight through, 18 karat. If you scratch it, there's more white metal underneath. It never needs to be rhodium plated. Several different anchoring points. You've got 5 different spots where you can anchor the strap and size the watch incrementally. The case band actually has more in common with the Date-8 and the Datejust than it does with any of the super case GMTs, Sea Dwellers, Submariners, or Explorer 2s. It's a surprisingly sexy form. Once you get close, you realize it has almost no hard edges, just a crease that runs from lug to lug. Everything else is compound curves with a flame surfacing effect as the light moves over its surface. You'll also note there's a little bit of an end profile to these links within the lugs that helps to create a more integrated look with the strap included. Now, the bezel is part of the movement. It's called ring command. It's similar to the system you'll find on the Yachtmaster 2. Screw the crown out. We'll talk about the architecture of this dial. It's an opaline silver. It's somewhere between cream and silver. It does have a distinctly off-white, almost eggshell tone to it. All white gold hands, white gold Rolex cornet, white gold Roman numerals to resist oxidation and tarnish over time. And you've got a 24-hour disc at the center that can be set separately from the local hours, and you have little apertures outboard of the hours, 12 hours, 12 months. That's how the annual calendar system, which requires adjustment only once per year during the jump from February to March, but that's how it displays the month while you read a date through a Cyclops eye. And the Cyclops eye on a watch of this size is better in proportion to the dial than it is on, for instance, a 36 millimeter Date-8 or Datejust, so it's not as obtrusive here. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the bezel all the way back clockwise. We're going to pull the crown out. By the way, first position with the bezel all the way clockwise, you just wind the watch. If you were to pull it out and try to set or wind or actuate any calendar functions, nothing happens. Now you turn one click counterclockwise, and now you can actually adjust the date in isolation. Watch the little black aperture at the 2, which signifies February. I can adjust forward, and I can jump to March, or I can set it backwards. It is a bidirectional date and a bidirectional annual calendar. Now, let's say I want to adjust the hour. Now I can adjust the hour. I turn one more, click counterclockwise, and you can see how I can adjust the hour independently of my second time zone, as well as independently of my minute hand and my seconds. This is not hacking seconds. I'm setting the hour without interrupting the time-telling functions. Now, finally, I want to set everything in sync. Okay. Justified all the way counterclockwise. Now, note, the seconds hand stops. This is the only way to activate hacking or stop seconds on the watch. As I adjust, everything moves in sync. So you're going to want to set that 24-hour dial at center first So you've got your reference time zone, and then what you're going to do is you're going to turn one click clockwise, and you're going to set the local hour and use that to drive the date to the correct date in the correct month, obviously. Now inside the watch, Rolex caliber 9001, 40 joules, automatic winding, about 390 parts, 3-day power reserve, COSC chronometer, 100 meters water resistant, twin lock screw down crown, free sprung balance with a full balance bridge for shock resistance, overcoil hairspring to help it keep excellent time in any orientation with respect to gravity. It also features a parachrome blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy about that hairspring, so it is highly anti-magnetic. Bidirectional winding for smoothness. This is a generation of Rolex caliber that uses rotor bearings for durability and shock resistance, so it's also a very tough movement. Rolex cases up the movement and then retimes the watch to achieve no worse than +2, -2 seconds per day, better than the COSC movement only test and attested on the dial as Rolex's superlative chronometer standard. You can see the superlative chronometer annual calendar, GMT, and sports watch and make it yours on the watch box. Rolex Sky-Dweller, hours and minutes, fully loomed.